Hello and welcome to Hank Games Without Hank. My name is John Green, manager of the AFC Wimbledon Wimbley Womblies, who are in the finals. That's right, the finals of this made-up preseason competition in which we could win $2 million. It's incredible. Look, we've brought 70,000 fans to Madrid, I think, for this exciting moment of the European International Cup final. We're up against Dani Alves. I don't think that's their real name, but that was what it looked like when I saw their name. There's the cup. That's the one I want to win. Mr. Managerino, so nervous he's got his hands in his armpits, as always. That's his just... What was that character Molly Shannon played on SNL? She did that. All right, it's players to watch John Green. He's 6'3". He's 25 years old. He weighs 190 pounds. Oh, to have any of those things in common with him. And look at him. Just beautiful, bald, and beautiful. Those are the three adjectives that come to mind. There they are, Dani Alves from Spain. We're going to try to beat them. They have a red cross on their uniforms, which I always think is a sign of weakness or altruism. It's easy to get them confused. Jim donated the Project for Awesome with this problem that I'm about to solve. I love my significant other, and we get along really great together, and we're compatible in most ways. We're in our late 20s, and we've been dating for around 3 years, and I'm wondering what criteria our relationship should meet before I propose. I'm afraid that one of us will change, or different life circumstances will break our compatibility. We're both students, so life is different than it will be, or we'll grow apart. How did you know when you were ready with the right person to move on to the next stage? Well, Jim, couple of things. First off, just because you're students, like, you're going to change. And it's not like the change doesn't end when you start your career. Like, you know, you're going to be with this person for the rest of your life. So you're going to go through huge life changes, right? You're going to go through the loss of people who are important to you. You're going to go through, you know, like physical decay. And you're going to go through all kinds of huge changes. And so I don't think that you can say, like, oh, well, once we've, like, had 2 years out of school, we'll know what kind of people we're going to be. Because you never know what kind of person you're going to be in the future. That's one of the, like, terrible and glorious things about the future, is that it is so wildly unpredictable. So I don't know that you can, like, you're ever, like, it was almost a goal, but it wasn't. I don't know that you're ever, like, one moment away from realizing, oh, I'm going to be like X or Y, and that is, you know, Z level of compatibility with this person I love. I don't think that it works that way, although I'm not sure. But at least so far, I mean, Sarah and I have been together for, you know, over 15 years, and we've been married for, oh, geez, I don't know. We got married in 2006, 13 years. Is that right? I'm pretty bad at math, but I think that's right. And so, I mean, I think that you should, like, talk to actual experts who've been married for, you know, like 70 years or something. People who really have done it for a lifetime. But I think, like, for us, the key was not so much like, are we going to change? Because we were going to change. And we were going to grow and change. And in some ways we were going to grow together, and in some ways we were going to grow apart, and that's going to continue for the rest of our lives. The question for us was, do we have, like, a shared basic, the great save from Raffo, do we have a shared basic system of values? Like, do we want the same kind of things? Do we value the same kind of things in life? And that isn't really, you know, I mean, sometimes I think we have a lot of, like, shorthands for values, like religious faith, or we have shorthands for values about, like, political positions. And I do think that, you know, like, your value system definitely affects and shapes the way that you look at political life or the responsibilities that one human has to another. And I think that your values may shape the way that you think about religious experience, especially if that's very important to you. But when I say a system of values, what I'm really talking about is, do you, like, when you talk to the person about the big questions, about the big things, about what should be the driving factors of one's life, like what in a human life is really important and valuable and, like, worth seeking out. Like, if there's not an alignment there, I think that is worrisome, because that can be really, that, at least in my experience with friends and family and stuff, like that can be a big problem, because if you can't share that stuff, it does become difficult, I think, to continue to grow together. Whereas I haven't found it difficult to, like, I've never felt like, oh, Sarah and I are at risk of growing apart, because I've always felt like we have, the post. I've always felt like we have very similar values. The stuff that matters to me matters to her. The stuff that, that I want out of life is similar to the stuff that she wants out of life. And I think that is really key, at least for us. I don't feel comfortable telling you when to get married. But the main thing that I want to say is that this should be a conversation. Like, it shouldn't be one person deciding whether to propose for like 3 years and then another person having to decide whether to say yes in like 3 minutes. I know that like we have certain romantic notions about proposals and engagements, and I actually think, like, I don't think those are like evil necessarily. I think that they can serve a role, and I'm all in favor of like ritualizing important human experiences. I think that can do a lot of like good for all of us, but you can't you can't make these decisions in a vacuum, and that really goes for both you and your partner. Like, it's unfair to ask them to make this decision in a vacuum. It's also unfair to ask you to make it. Oh, it's John Green. It's phenomenal. It's magnificent. It's everything that you want in a headed goal. He's a genius. I'm a genius for playing him. He did that dumb rugby celebration. I can't help but do that rugby celebration. I don't know why. I try to think, like, let's push a different button, and then my heart only wants to push that button. The heart wants what it wants, Jim. Oh, God. It was beautiful. Let's see it again. Plop. And then there's no stopping that. I mean, I headed it right at you, but you couldn't do anything. You didn't even have time to raise your hands. It's humiliating. I love to see our opponents laid before us, their corpses, miserable, scared. Is that too much? No. Okay, good. It's got to be, like, I feel like before Sarah and I got engaged, we had like 4,000 conversations about getting married, which was great. Like, I don't know. I found it super helpful to have those conversations. Like, it was also the last kick of the first half. Beautiful. Do you want to have kids? What kind of place, like, where do you want to live? Like, what, how would we deal with prom? Like, I remember one of the big discussions we had back then was like, how would we deal with, different, like, if my career wants to take us in one place and your career wants to take us in another place. So at the time, like, Sarah was about to start graduate school, and we would talk about, like, well, what if you get into graduate school in, like, I don't know, Western Massachusetts or Cleveland or something? Are we going to move to Cleveland? And, like, if so, like, to what extent am I willing to, like, give up my, like, my ambitions? Oh, I should have passed. To what extent am I willing to give up my ambitions so that you can have, so that you can follow your ambitions? Or what do we do when our ambitions don't line up? Like, how are we going to resolve those conflicts? And we learned how the other person resolves conflicts partly in the years that we spent together before we got married. But we also learned about it through, like, having conversations and being like, well, this is how we would settle that. What kind of things when it comes to raising a kid are priorities for you? What are the things that you really want? What kind of, do you feel strongly about this kind of parenting or that kind of parenting? How close do you want to live? Is it important to you to live close to family? Like, I know that these are very practical discussions, but, like, they have a huge impact on your life. And I think romantic love is obviously a really important part of any successful romantic partnership, but it's only part of it, right? Like, it's the part that we talk about. It's the part that gets celebrated in our culture really effectively, but it is only part of it. Like, you also have to be suited. You have to be able to resolve conflict effectively. You have to be able to, meet the other person's needs. You have to be able to listen carefully. and a lot of that stuff, like romantic love, is part of it. But I think like we don't pay enough attention to that sort of everyday stuff. And so that, to me, those kinds of like having those conversations, and even having conversations like, do you want to get married? Do you want to have a diamond ring? Like, what kind of ring do you want? Should we have rings? Should we both wear? Like, I don't know. I found those kind of conversations helpful because they were both conversations about what they were conversations about, but they were also kind of models for like, how are we going to talk about this stuff together? Like, what kind of, how are we going to have, how are we going to go through the kind of complicated stuff of being, together? And like, because there's an element of, in a loving relationship, I think there's an element of real, care for the person and real passion. There's also an element of like being the co-CEO of a household and figuring that out together. And I don't think that you have to live together or whatever before doing that in order to do it effectively. I also don't think that like, the people who are like, both the people who say that you should live together and the people who say that you shouldn't live together are oversimplifying things a lot. I think like, whatever, like different things work for different people. Sarah and I dated for a long time without living together. Then we did live together. Then we got married, and I don't know, it was fine. The whole time was fine. Some people were like, oh, but if you live together, you won't feel the like, gosh, I've conceded. It was coming, and it happened. We're bringing on Vinny Thrill, which I think is the right decision. Oh boy, that's troubling. All right, well, it's 1-1. We still have a chance here. We just need to find a way to emerge victorious. Okay, well, that's the first step I've failed at, which was completing that pass. Yeah, so, right, people would say to Sarah and I, like, oh, you don't live together because then, like, marriage won't feel different. Marriage feels different because, like, it feels different partly because, like, we lived together for a year and then we've been married for many, many years. And partly because, like, when we lived together in New York, we, like, both of us worked from home. We didn't have children. We could, walk all day, spend a Wednesday just visiting art galleries. Like, yeah, it feels different in lots of ways. But, I think that, like, marriage is constantly changing. And it's really like, who do you want to change with? I did it again. Once again, the system has convinced me somehow to replace. Wait, is there any way? Can I make a substitution? I can't. Okay, well, in that case, I guess I will see what kind of right back my striker is. I'm gonna guess not a great one, but maybe if it goes to penalties, I'll have the advantage of having another penalty taker. I don't know. That wasn't my best work, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. Pass to John Green. Pass to John Green! Oh, that was almost good, but instead it was bad. Just like so much of life. So I really, like, I'm fine with the proposal. Here's my advice. I think it's whatever proposal you want to have is great. Have your proposal. But, like, have your proposal once you're both sure. Like, once you've both had those conversations and it's open. And and you've done that together. Okay, I am taking penalties. All right, there's no extra time, Meredith. It's just straight to penalties. It's time to panic because why is John Green so bad at penalties? He's a great finisher. And then we're gonna have Signs. I forgot that he even plays for me. I don't like it. I like him better. This guy's a 71 finishing. All of those guys are terrible. Look at Rafa's finishing. He's horrible. All right, so. I mean, we basically have to do it in the first 5 or we're totally hosed. So there we go. All right, I'm good. How do I advance? I am advancing. All right, Raffo, it's time to prove your worth. He's 17 years old and he is a Raffo. He's known for it. He went the wrong way. Oh. All right. Okay. just going to go real hard. That's it. Right into the corner. Trotter's he's great. Okay. Should I just stand still? I'm going to stand still. It's a mistake. Okay, it's John Green. We're only here because of him. Oh, it's a great penalty. It's a really good penalty. Okay, Raffo. Oh, this guy has a long run-up, which I'm suspicious of. Oh, my God, Raffo. How you jumped over the ball. Oh, my God. I saw which way it was going, and I somehow still messed it up. It's Vinny Thrill. It's been saved. Oh, no. It was a good penalty, too. Oh, God, I can't believe Raffo jumped over the ball. Oh, boy. Okay, we're in big trouble. There's no getting around it. Okay, it is the Icelandic guy we brought on. And it's a good penalty. Not a great penalty, but it went in. All right, I've got to save this one. Raffo has got to save this one, or he's got to miss. I'm going to go to the right. I've already decided it. I'm going to the right. I didn't go fast enough to the right. Oh, God, I was so close to that fake cup. I never win anything. I'm so frustrated. I was so close to winning that cup that doesn't mean anything, and it wouldn't have meant that much to win it, but losing it for some reason is devastating. So much of life is like this. I knew which way he was going, I just did it wrong. Oh, congratulations to Dani Alves and the other members of Dani Alves FC. Let's watch their trophy presentation. I'm devastated. I know. Well, John Green, you can't talk me back, okay? But my heart is broken. This game has just started. It's the new season. I'm already bad. Oh, they're gonna get to lift a trophy, Meredith. It's terrible. It's terrible. Maybe I should buy all their players as punishment. That guy's a man bun. Where are we at with man buns in 2019? Meredith's not willing to hazard an opinion. She doesn't want to alienate our audience. She's fine with them. And I think that's what's important. Congratulations, Dani Alves. Even the referees are clapping. Ugh. We're not going to win anything this year. I'm not going to give up. It's not in my DNA. Best wishes.